My name is Russ Kennedy. I'm the Chief Product Officer here at Nasuni, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Nasuni and Google and the combination of the two as the best way to modernize file storage infrastructure in the cloud. Just a little bit about Nasuni. We're about a 12-year-old company headquartered in Boston. We have a good partnership with Google now with several customers that are using the Nasuni file storage platform with Google, and I'll talk a little bit about why that makes sense going forward. So Google is a very, very large company and a very pervasive company with lots of technology, obviously all over the industry. And in particular for file storage, they have a number of different options today, starting from the individual side where Google Drive and that set of suite of offerings is a key set of technologies that they deliver. And then on the high end, they have Google File Store, which is a very high performance file storage system that runs in Google Cloud. In the middle, they generally partner with some of the major cloud file storage providers in the marketplace, NetApp, EMC, Isilon, Windows File Servers, etc. Nasuni fits very well into that middle space. We deliver a file storage platform that runs in Google's cloud, leveraging Google's object storage system for storing a globally scalable file system and enabling users to be able to access their files from anywhere in the world. And I'll talk about that as we go forward in the presentation. First and foremost, again, if you look at the types of data and the types of organizations that are doing file storage today, again, you have the left-hand side, which is primarily individuals creating documents, sharing documents, etc. And on the right-hand side, you have very high-end, high-performance computing type applications. But there's this big bubble of file storage in the middle, which most of the data in the file storage area lives in. It's these types of data. It's video data, it's rich media files, it's engineering files, it's documents, it's PowerPoints, etc. And all of that data sits in some sort of file storage system anywhere in the world. And these are the organizations and platforms that are sharing that data as you go forward. Well, what is Nasuni? So Nasuni, again, is a primary file storage platform. It's built to run in the cloud. It's built to run in object storage and runs in Google's object storage, the various tiers of Google's object storage today. It provides primary file storage as well as built-in backup, built-in disaster recovery, and the ability to share files across different locations where users are accessing data, where they're processing information, where applications may be running. It allows you to share that data all over the world because it is truly a global file system. It is UniFS, the Nasuni Global File System, that was built from day one to run in object storage. It lives in object storage. It takes advantage of the scalability, the durability, and the cost of object storage, and enables customers and users to share data because it is truly a global footprint to share data across any access point where users are accessing data. And the interesting part about the Nasuni architecture is that users access data through an edge device. The edge device can be living in a data center, it can be living in an office, it can be living on a manufacturing floor, or it can be in the cloud, or any combination of those. We have a truly hybrid model that allows you to place edge performance access devices in any location where users are going to be accessing data. The object storage holds the gold master copy of the file system, but users cache any data that's active locally in an edge performance device so that they can get a level of performance that is expected, either by individual users or by applications that are writing data. We also provide a single management console to manage the entire infrastructure, regardless of where users are accessing data. So we have hundreds of customers that have tens, dozens, hundreds of locations all over the world, and a single management console is what enables them to manage the entire infrastructure all over the world with a very simple view. What are some of the use cases that users use Nasuni for? Well, the first one is on the left side of this diagram, and it's really about consolidating and modernizing file infrastructure. Most large organizations have file storage infrastructure in silos in different locations, in different departments, etc., all over their infrastructure. They could be from different vendors or likely from different vendors. And one of the big things that Nasuni helps our customers do is consolidate all that data into a cloud footprint. The file system lives in the cloud, and then be able to minimize the infrastructure required at the edge so that users can get access to their data through those edge appliances. Another common workload that we see today is collaboration, being able to share data across different locations where users in one location may be working on a particular project or a particular campaign, and they've got other users in another location that are also collaborating on that same campaign. Well, with a global file system, Nasuni enables that workload to happen for users. We're also seeing a lot of remote work these days with many organizations having all of their office workers working from their home location. So we support that use case very easily as well. And then finally, one of the big well-known capabilities of Nasuni is the ability to deliver recovery, fast recovery from something like a disaster or something like a ransomware attack. We keep multiple versions of the file system in the object storage platform at a very low cost point so that users can recover very quickly if they have a disaster or if they're hit by a ransomware attack. Unfortunately, in this day and age, that's one of the things that people have to worry about, is particularly ransomware. And we've had a number of customers be able to roll back very easily to previous versions of the file system and recover very quickly from those attacks. One of the big benefits of the Nasuni Google combination is depicted on this chart, and that is the cost savings associated with going with Nasuni for file storage with the Google backend cloud object storage platform. When you compare that to a traditional storage infrastructure on the left-hand side. With traditional storage, you have primary storage, you have all the backup infrastructure, you have a DR copy, you probably have some WAN acceleration technology to help synchronize data across locations. That's a very heavy lift and a very heavy cost. You can replace all of that with just Nasuni and Google Cloud Object Storage on the back end, and it delivers you up to 70% savings right off the get-go. Then you've got a number of soft costs that you can also eliminate in your environment as well, which I've listed on the slide. We also simplify file storage management for our customers. We give them a single namespace to store all of their file data and be able to access that data from any location in the world. Hundreds of locations if it makes sense for your enterprise. Again, the data lives in the object storage in the cloud, and the access is at the edge where users and applications are accessing file data. So it's a very rich architecture in order to allow file collaboration across multiple locations. We give you that one management view to the entire infrastructure, so it's very easy for your administrators to manage. And we also, because we grow in object storage as your capacity needs grow, there is no additional work necessary or hardware refreshes necessary to grow your environment. You just add more capacity or consume more capacity in the object store. So it's very simple from that perspective. Security is also built in, as I mentioned before. We keep multiple versions of the file system in the cloud, so you can not have to back up your file data anymore. You can eliminate all of that cost. You're able to restore to very granular recovery point objectives and recovery time objectives in minutes or less than that if necessary. Disaster recovery, depending on any location failing, is about 15 minutes. You don't have to deploy a significant amount of additional infrastructure to get that 15-minute disaster recovery capability. And finally, I mentioned ransomware mitigated, no additional cost associated with that. It's very easy to roll back to a previous version of the file system prior to the ransomware attack, and boom, you're up and running very, very quickly. One of the big elements of Nasuni that we leverage from the object storage platform is the ability to scale in the number and size of files, in the number and size of volumes and directories. There is no limits because, again, we're leveraging object storage and storing all the elements of the file system as immutable objects in the object storage system. You can keep an unlimited number of snapshots. You can have an unlimited number of locations, regions, offices, etc., or users accessing that data. Traditional storage platforms have limitations based on the hardware. So using object storage gives us a huge advantage in this arena. So finally, if you have any more questions, you can certainly go to our website. We do have a page specifically for our partnership with Google. You can learn more about some of the things that we're doing specifically with Google.